Pile 1, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We're doing another future spouse pick a card reading. This reading we are doing your future spouse's first impression of you, okay? So I will be doing another video where we will be asking what your impression will be of your future spouse, okay? So just look out for that one. This one is all about your future spouse's first impression of you. Let's see, so the questions we're going to be looking into, we're going to get their overall impression, just in general, and then I'm going to ask if, you know, they feel an instant connection to you, whether they feel like there's an instant spark or chemistry. We're going to find out, you know, upon their first impression, if they find you physically, you know, / sexually attractive. And then the last thing we will get to close out the reading is just messages about their first impression to you. Okay, pile 1. So keep in mind, you guys, this is a general reading. Take what resonates, leave behind anything that doesn't. Anything that does not resonate, just drop it, leave it for whomever it may resonate. You know, don't try and make anything fit, and if nothing in it really resonates, just, you know, it's probably not your pile. Just go pick another one, no biggie. And then I do have personal readings available if you would like for me to tap exclusively into you and your future spouse's connection. Just check the description box below. There's a lot of $25 readings available in the future spouse category, okay? All right, let's see. So pile 1, you guys were drawn to the seafoam calcite, the green seafoam calcite. Let's see what their overall impressions is of you. So we've got guide in the upright position. And so this says represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. We also got the third house here, third house energy with Mercury. Ruling sign is Gemini. Keywords are communication, thinking, devices, community, early education, travel, neighborhood, social life, perception. I just picked up the word chatty. Their overall first impression of you is you're very helpful. I got chatty and then something else was wanting to come through. I don't know if maybe their first impression of you, if you helped them out with something or you helped them to figure something out. Helpful. Yes, their first impression of you is that you're very helpful. Let's see. Let's get some more. Your overall first impression of pile 1. I am picking up on wise. They see you as very wise with the owl here. And then with, you know, over here where it says guide, it says represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. And so there must be something like a conversation that you and your person have, or you and your future spouse have, pile 1. I'm picking up, they think their first impression of you is they think highly of you, they respect you. I don't know if maybe you teach them something. Yeah, so first impression initially is they see you as, you know, easy to talk to, very chatty, very helpful with something. Yeah, okay. Your first initial impression of pile 1. Please, pile 1's future spouse. What's your first impression of pile 1? Oh. We got the chaser, wedding rings. Right off the bat, they do see you as somebody who is, I just heard marriage minded. So I don't know if this is in a conversation that you guys are going to have where they know that you have marriage on the brain, or marriage is something that you want. So that's just an FYI for you guys. Your future spouse is going to know from the jump, whether that's just an impression they get of you, or if that's in the conversation that you have, or however, they know right from the very beginning. Pile 1, you got marriage, like you want marriage. That's what you want, right? I am also seeing wedding rings here as far as their first impression of you, is that you are marriage material. But we do have the chaser moving towards wedding rings. And so your future spouse's first impression of you is that that's what you're after. You're after wedding rings. You're after marriage. You're after, you know, they know what you're after, okay? They know what your intentions are for a romantic partner. With Hand of Cards here, we got take a chance, risk, being strategic, options, not showing hand, and gambling. Let's see. Let's clarify Hand of Cards. What's that about? Okay, they see you as somebody who isn't afraid of taking a chance. I get it. I don't know if this is something where because I did take a peek of the coffee cup at the back of this deck. I've since, you know, been shuffling it. So they do see you as somebody willing to take a risk, willing to take a chance. And it's funny though, because it says not showing hand, but your person does know, your future spouse does know that wedding rings is what you're after. You're after the ultimate commitment. Hand of Cards. This is almost giving me vibes, Pile 1, like your person, your future spouse sees you as like you're kind of like on a mission. Like you'll do whatever it takes to get married, right? Let me see. What's Hand of Cards here? What's Hand of Cards for? This almost feels like who's taking a risk here? I'm almost feeling like you're the one, like they see you as being the one who's taking a risk. And I don't know, maybe that'll be something that you'll pick up on when, you know, I release the future spouse video where it's your first impression of them. There might be something about your future spouse, Pile 1, where they view themselves as, you know, like, oh, Pile 1's taking a risk or taking a chance on, you know, being with me or something like that. You know, like you're gambling. Let's see, what's Hand of Cards here? All right, something fell, but it flipped over in the reverse. What's easy? Talking in the reverse. Okay, so in the upright position it says interested, conversing more, awaited message arrives, text, call, email, hovering. With communication here and then talking in the reverse, this feels like, yeah, like you're taking some kind of a, okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Something may happen with your guys' initial communication. I don't know if you meet this person online, on social media, if the first impression that you get of each other might be through text or through messaging or something, but there's something about communication where, you know, and this is kind of like your first impression of them, right? But you're okay. But the scenario, what I'm seeing, Pile 1, is that there's something with your guys' communication where they're seeing you as being willing to take a risk with them, because something about your guys' initial communication feels like it falls through, or maybe your future spouse isn't communicating with you to the degree that you would like them to. There's something about communication here that initially, okay, like your first impression of them may be like they don't return, you know, they're not good at texting back, or, you know, maybe they're kind of flaky when it comes to that initial communication or something like that. And a scenario that's coming through is that the two of you finally do meet up, and I feel like pile one, it's going to probably be more than likely like for a cup of coffee or something like that, right? It's going to be a date that is very light, and that might be, you know, what you're wanting. You might be like, you know, because of something that's going on with the initial communication between you guys, or, you know, pile one, you may not want to commit to anything more than just like maybe a quick coffee date, because you're not, there's something about your person, they know, pile one, that you're not sure about with them. Like, this is first initial impressions, right? This is just getting to like the first meeting or something like that. And so the fact that you were willing to show up, and that might be this conversation, you know, they might be showing up in a way initially, and I'm talking about like first texts, first phone calls, setting up that first date, where they might appear to be kind of flaky, or they might appear to just not be as responsive in their communication as you. They might seem to drop the ball. I'm not saying they're doing it over and over and over again, but there is something in the way, like I do feel they drop the ball in some way, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and they know that. And yet you still, it's like you give them one more chance. And so that's like part of their first impression, is the fact that even though, you know, they dropped the ball once or twice when it comes to communication, and I know this is them as the one that dropped the ball, because they're seeing you as being very good at communicating with the third house here, right? They see you as being very good with communicating, following through, you know, responsive and stuff like that. They're the ones that's showing up in the reverse here with talking in the reverse. So I know this is them. So their first initial impression of you is like, you know, pile one, despite, you know, them dropping the ball, pile one, you know, you took a chance on your future spouse, right? And they're thankful for that. Like, you were willing to gamble, you were willing to take a risk, and there might be something about that where it's like, you know, you gave them one more shot, which they found very helpful, right, with the guide here. They very much appreciated that. They very much appreciate the fact that you were willing to give them one more chance. Okay. Let's see. Anything you want to add to your first impressions of pile one? One more shuffle. Woo! Alright. Anything you want to add? Okay. This already answers whether or not, but of course we will, you know, one of the questions was whether or not they feel like an instant spark in chemistry with you. The answer to that question is yes, with the Ace of Wands here. Okay, they do feel an instant spark / chemistry with you. This wanted to come up in the reverse. You might be somewhat, or I should say, first impressions, your future spouse's first impression of you, they might be a little bit intimidated by how attractive they find you, pile one. Yeah, with the King of Wands almost wanting to come out in the reverse. Something about their attraction to you. Now, I'm going to break down whether or not this is due to their, you know, just feeling a spark in a chemistry with you because of personality-wise, or if they're feeling this way because of, you know, feeling sexually attracted. It could be both too, right? But first initial impressions might be that, you know, your person might feel like you're out of their league. Okay, with the King of Wands in reverse, they may feel like they're not able to match your energy in you know, when it comes to like, they may feel like maybe they're going to be more attracted to you than you are of them. Yeah. Anything else you want to add? And then we'll get to asking these questions. Anything about overall energy? I am going to say pile 1, and we'll figure out if it's just the spark chemistry part of it or if it's physical sexual attraction, like where, you know what I mean? It could, like I said, it could be both. But I am going to say first initial impressions instantly is that they feel intimidated by something about you. Okay, there is an attraction there. There is a spark and there is a chemistry and there is something about their first impression of you makes them feel. Yeah, then with the Eight of Pentacles, let's see, what's the Eight of Pentacles in relation to your first impression? How does this relate to pile 1? They might see you as high maintenance. Yeah, there's something about, they may see you as high maintenance. They might wonder whether or not they have the ability to, you know, and like I said, this is first initial impressions. This is before they really get to know who you are as a person. And so it kind of leaves them in the energy initially of being undecided whether or not they're going to have what it takes to, you know, date you, to stuff like that. Okay, just initial just initial first impressions. This is like what goes through their mind, you know, the first time they meet you, like their first impressions and stuff is basically like if they're gonna have the ability to, you know, be an equal partner, to make you happy and things of that nature. Okay. All right, let's see, now we're gonna get to asking, let's see if there's gonna be an instant connection. Oh, I thought I got these out. I didn't. Oh, my bad, y'all. Okay, let's see. Oh, crap. Okay. Sorry, you guys. I thought I got these out. I'm double checking real quick to make sure these are all in the upright position. Yeah, they are for the most part. Okay. If they flip out in the reverse, I'll take it, but I want to make sure they're all okay. Yeah, and you know what? That might be talking about the delays too, you know, that happen between you and your future spouse. Okay. Let's see. Pile 1's future spouse is, do you feel an instant connection to pile 1? First impression, do you feel an instant connection to pile 1? Do you feel the instant connection to pile 1? Maturity. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 1? There's an instant respect, okay? Let's see, pile 1, future spouse, do you feel an instant connection to pile 1? There we go, hope and romance. Yeah, that's definitely, they definitely do feel an instant connection to you, okay? But like I said, there is kind of this there's some doubt in your future spouse's energy, pile one, initially, whether or not you're going to go for them. That's what it is, right? And like I said, it's got something to do with communication styles here. They're wondering whether or not, you know, they messed it up before it even got going. You know, yes, they are thankful that you took a chance on them, but they do see you as being very mature, looking at things very logically, you know, the way that you handle things does give them hope, right? So there is a hope here that things can move from that first initial date. Like maybe, you know, they have a hope that they're going to be able basically to change your mind, right? They do have hope because you did end up giving them the chance, right, to kind of, what do they call that, redeem themselves or rectify the situation. I just feel like they dropped the ball initially on communication in some way that kind of leaves you in with a bad taste in your mouth. And with third house here, maturity, and then all, you know, all this stuff, I feel like you communicate to this person, you let them know that, like, you know, I don't have time for this, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, so very much your future spouse's first impression of you, pile one, is you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and you want that reciprocated from somebody. And so I feel like there's something in the way that you handle yourself. I'm picking up very regal, just in terms of energy, like energetically, and the way that you communicate, very open, transparent. You have, it doesn't seem like, as far as your future spouse is concerned, their first impression of you is that you don't have a problem. You know, if there is an issue, you don't have a problem voicing that, right? You don't keep problems or issues to yourself. You don't let things stew or anything like that. And so, yes, they feel an instant connection to you. With maturity here, I even get that they're feeling like instantly the connection. They feel safe with you. I'm picking up that their first impression is they instantly feel understood by you. There's just something in your energy they're picking up on where there's just this wisdom beyond your years. And so, you know, they know you can see them very clearly. They know you're very understanding, but not in a way where you can be taken advantage of, right? And they understand this. I don't know if it's at a very intrinsic level, if it's subconscious, but they do realize that that's why you gave them a second chance to begin with, is because you were somehow able to pick up on some sincerity in their interactions with you. Even though they dropped the ball, you were able to pick up on something where you're like, okay, it's okay to give this person a second chance, you know, something like that. And so regardless of what their initial doubts and fears may be, whether or not, you know, it's like, I don't know if, you know, pile one is going to give me another chance. I'm glad that they did give me another chance. I don't know if they're just entertaining me. You know, does pile one, do I have what it takes to make pile one, you know, happy long term and stuff like that? There still is a hope here that things can go from kind of that light initial connection to something more romantic. Okay, so I am going to say, yeah, at the very least, there is definitely a spark here. There's a chemistry because they are wanting to take it further beyond, you know, something just platonic, something, you know, there is romance here. Okay, they do feel a romantic connection to you initially, instantly. We'll leave that there. All right, now I want to find out more about the instant spark / chemistry. Do they feel an instant spark / chemistry with you? Pile one's future spouse, do you feel an instant spark, instant chemistry with pile one? Instant spark chemistry. First impression wise, we got, these wanted to come out. Let me get one more. These wanted to come out in the reverse. So we got pregnancy in reverse. It says in the upright position, it talks about getting pregnant, building a family, giving birth to something. And then memories in the reverse, this is feelings of nostalgia, pleasure, and sadness stuck in the past. So their first impression is that, like I said, like maybe they screwed it up, okay, in terms of getting things started. There's the Chaser again. Let's see. Chemistry. We got pregnancy in reverse. Let's see. Tell me more about whether or not you feel an instant spark / chemistry with pile 1, please. We got the Ace of Pentacles. Seven of Cups in reverse. Okay. Give me one more. Do you feel an instant spark / chemistry? Oh, okay. Let's get one more. So they do feel an instant connection with you, but whatever this mishap is with communication, that kind of messed with the first impression or the initial impression with like that spark and chemistry, right? There is potential there. They're seeing that, right? We have the pregnancy, but it's showing up in reverse. And in terms of this is what it feels like. It's like giving birth to something. So the potential, the possibility of that being not the pregnancy, but giving birth to a new connection, right? This connection being brand new. It's like the promise of chemistry and spark is there, but there was this mishap that kind of threw a wrench in it, right? With the Ace of Pentacles, it's there. The potential for spark and chemistry is there. With it showing up, being clarified by the Ace of Pentacles, this feels like something that's more grounded, which is great, right? Definitely no confusion in terms of whether or not there's instant spark and chemistry. I feel like yes and no. The answer to that question is like yes and no. Because something happened leading up to like meeting each other that kind of messed with that, right? Something about the first impression messed with that. It's almost like they're more, you know, it's that flow back and forth. I'm not saying they're not attracted to you, but we're talking about the chemistry. So something is getting in the way of that spark and that chemistry really being evident, really flowing back and forth and stuff like that. I feel like it's there. The undercurrent is there, right? We got Chaser there with the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands can talk about really flirty messages. Definitely something to build on, okay? There's a foundation there. I will say yes, there is some chemistry. There is a spark that, you know, obviously we're talking about your future spouse, right? So you guys do end up getting married. It's just getting past the initial mishap with communication. That kind of mars things a little bit. With Chaser here, and then we have the Page of Wands, I do feel like your person almost scrambling to make up for maybe the way that they dropped the ball, okay? So the Page of Wands can be somebody that's a little bit more eager to communicate, because, you know, pages for me are messengers, communication, things of that nature. And for a wand energy, that's more flirty, it's more engaging. You know, of course we got romance here in terms of whether or not, you know, there's an instant connection there. It is there. So, you know, I feel like they're going to get on the ball. You know, they dropped the ball. You give them another chance, and then I feel like from that point on, they take it much more seriously in terms of just, you know, trying to be more back and forth, more engaging. But as far as an initial spark in chemistry, yeah, it's there. It's not going to be instantly noticeable, like maybe from the very first meeting or the very first date, because there's just kind of this thing about, you know, the communication. They know that you're a little bit, not weary. They know that the way that they've handled things up until that point, as far as communication goes, they know that that's kind of left, you know, a bad taste in your mouth. But, you know, they know that things move forward beyond that. Okay, what are we looking at now? We want to know whether or not they find you sexually, physically attractive, like instantly. All right. Do you find pile 1? Your first impression, are you instantly physically / sexually attracted to pile 1? Are you instantly physically / sexually attracted to pile 1? First impressions. I keep hearing yes. Are you instantly physically sexually attracted? There we go. It says without a doubt. That was the first thing that I saw. Yes, and then we got to prove. Okay, that's a big resounding yes. So pile 1, if you want to know whether or not, you know, your future spouse finds you sexually attractive, physically attractive from the jump, yes. Big yes. Look with the thumbs up. They're like, yes, without a doubt. Okay, yes. We won't even go any further than that. All right, so now we want to know messages about their first impressions, and then we're going to close up your reading. Pile 1, if this has been entertaining, if this has brought any kind of joy, you know, any kind of help it may have brought to you in your journey, you can show thanks by hitting that like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below, let me know what pile you picked, let me know how it resonated. You can become part of the family by hitting that subscribe button, as well as the notification bell, so you don't miss a reading or an upload. Let's see, we got go slow. Let's get 2 more here and now. Let's see, messages about your first impression pile. Aww. All right, so we got go slow. It says take time to get to know each other. Here and now, your true love is already part of your life. Okay, I get it. And then we got soulmate here. With your soulmate loves, accepts, and respects you unconditionally. I was picking up in the very first initial impression, they respect you. Something about the way you handle yourself, the way you handle just things in general, the way you talk, the way you see things. Your wisdom shines through so that your future spouse is able to pick up on it. Very much respect you. They know instantly. Number 1, they know somehow that you're, you know, not only do they know that you want marriage, they are able to instantly pick up that you are marriage material. They also know from the get-go, pile 1, the first impression, their message to you about their first impression of you is that you are someone that they want to, you know, date long-term, marriage in mind, right? Because we're talking about first initial impressions. And so they know right away that you could be a very important person in their life, even their spouse, right? They know that from the very first initial impression. And you know, they're still going to want to take things slow. They're still going to want to, you know, really get to know you as a person, you know, what makes you happy, what makes you sad. They know that you're marriage minded. I'm not picking up on anything about where they're going to want to waste your time. It's nothing like that. They're just going to want to be intentional, okay, about the way things unfold. Something about your first interactions, right? They learned about, because they almost fumbled it, right? They almost fumbled it. They almost fumbled it before it ever got started. And so they're going to want to, they are going to want to take things slow so they can really get to know you and really get to learn what makes you tick, what makes you happy, you know, whatever your nuances may be. You know, just from the get-go, first impressions, they see you as a soulmate, okay? I love it. Let's see, let's find more messages. I love it. All right, let's get more. What are your messages to pile 1 about first initial impressions? Oh, look, we got spoiled, taken care of, and comfortable. So they want to, you know, first initial impressions of you, pile 1, are that you are someone that they are going to want to take care of. They are going to want to spoil. Pamper is coming up. I think there is a pampered, I think. I'm like, what's the difference really between spoiled and pampered? But anyway, let's get 2 more. Messages to pile 1 about your first impressions. They know you're someone to be taken care of, right? We got options here. It says multiple choices, many opportunities available. They know you have options, okay? And then we got 1 more. And then there's a part of them that wonders whether or not you're too good to be true. And, you know, and that may be part of, like, I just heard pinch me. Pinch me. Yeah, and so your person has this, their initial first impression is they really wonder if they have what it takes to be your other half. They're picking up that there may be some intricacies about you that there's just this energy pile 1, first impression, something about you, they want to learn what makes you tick. I don't know if other people have not been willing to do that, but your future spouse is wanting to do that. There's something very intriguing they find about you. And yeah, so there is something that they pick up on, whether it's just your personality and or it's how physically attractive you are. They know you have options. They know you're not going to be one to just settle for anybody, right? And so your person really is wanting to be the one for you. First impression is, you know, pile 1 is someone I'm going to have to, you know, not that they have to, they want to spoil you, they want to take care of you, they want to treat you right, they want to give you the treatment that you deserve. Their first impression of you is that you deserve all of that, right? Their first impression of you is that you are someone who has a lot of options, and if you know, and if they don't act right, you know, if they don't honor you, if they don't respect you, things of that nature, you're going to move on and find the person that will. Okay, and then again, a first impression, they wonder, you know, is pile 1 too good to be true? I think that is sweet. Okay, let's see. We're going to get 1 more from the Moonology deck. First impressions. Your messages to pile 1 about your first impressions of them. Your messages to pile 1 about your first impressions of them. Aw, a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. They're going to romance you, okay? First impression is that they're going to want to romance you. So if you guys have a very light-hearted, very light-spirited, like, first date, right? Like at a coffee shop, or it's just something very just, you know, like I said, minimal commitment on either end. Like I said, I feel like that's going to be your thing because you're just, something about the way they handle things. You're like, I'm not, you know, pile 1, you're like, I'm not gonna commit to, you know, something more than a coffee date with this person at this point in time. They know from the very get-go. After that, they know. No, I mean, not to say no more coffee dates, but they're going to go big with spoiled here. So the first date might be something like a coffee date, but that second date, they're going to be like, they're going to show off and show out for you with the spoiled and taken care of, okay? They're going to woo you, woo, okay? They're going to court you. They're going to, you know, date you. They're going to treat you out. They're going to do all that stuff with a new romantic cycle begins. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's going to be something, of course, we're talking about your future spouse, but this is from the very beginning. Your person knows from the very beginning, pile 1, that you're someone to take very seriously, right? That's just their future, you know, their future, that's their impression of you. There is a message coming through too, something about like, you know, they also know you're not really, maybe you're not really one to usually do coffee dates, you know, but they understand why that's what you chose. And there's almost this energy where they're like, okay, if I'm going to get a second date with pile 1, I'm going to have to really step up to the plate. And they are like, the last message here is a new romantic cycle begins. Okay. They're like, game on, pile 1, game on. All right. Okay, you guys, we're going to end your reading there. I hope that it resonated. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next pick a card future spouse reading. Bye, guys. Hello, pile 2. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We're doing another future spouse pick a card reading. We are picking up on your future spouse's first impression of you. I will be doing another pick a card reading where I will be tapping into your first impression of them, okay? But this specific video is all about your future spouse's first impression of you. All right, so some of the questions we're going to be asking, we're going to get their overall impression, just in general. I'm going to ask if they feel like an instant connection with you upon, you know, their first impression, if they feel an instant spark / chemistry with you. If they find you physically / sexually attractive, and then we're going to close the reading out with their messages to you about their first impression. Okay, pile 2. So keep in mind, you guys, this is a general reading. Just whatever resonates, keep that. If something does not resonate, just drop that and leave it behind for somebody where what does resonate, okay? Don't try to make anything fit. And if you just find overall this reading does not resonate, just, you know, you can click off and go pick another pile. You know how it goes, you guys. Just keep that in mind. And then I do have personal readings available for those of you where you would like me to tap exclusively into the energy of you and your future spouse's connection. Just check the description box below for booking details. I have a lot of $25 readings available in the future spouse category. Okay. Let's see. Right away, for those of you where you might be I was gonna say like a pet person, but I'm hearing people person. You might be, their first impressions of you might be, you know, having to do with maybe you being a pet owner or an animal lover, and even with, you know, person wanting to come out. Okay. I don't normally, unless it's pertinent to the reading. You guys chose the lemon calcite, which is, you know, light yellow. They might see you, first impressions might be if you like being very optimistic, very cheery, okay? Their first impression, whether you are or not, they might see you as being very extroverted, being very outgoing. Not necessarily saying that you are, but there might, like, their first impression of you is that, at the very least, they see you as outgoing. They may actually think you're an extrovert, and you could be, okay? Doesn't necessarily have to be. Let's see, overall impressions, we got Judge. We have, and it's in the upright position, so I'm going to read the light attributes. It says, balancing justice and compassion, managing the fair distribution of powers. So they think you are somebody that's very fair. In terms of the way you judge, right? And then we have Gemini here. Why am I hearing diplomat? Like you're very diplomatic is their first impression of you. Let's see. Gemini energy here. Yeah, very mutable energy. Very easygoing, very go with the flow is their first impression of you, pile 2. Here it says, their first impressions of you may be that you're clever. They see you as being witty, inventive, collaborative, intelligent, adaptable, and informative. Okay. I'm picking up on Gemini energy showing up. Okay. Also, Libra energy is showing up because I'm seeing justice, very fair and balanced, okay? They see you as somebody who's very fair and balanced in the way that you may, like, judge things or view things, stuff like that. Let's find out more. Tell me more about your first initial impressions of pile 2, please. Pile 2's future spouse, your first initial impressions of pile 2. Oh, Cupid's arrow. Have faith, love is coming. Surprise invitation or meeting, hesitation. Let's see. We also have the runner. They might see you as maybe being difficult to nail down. You might be on the go a lot as far as their first impressions of you is. They might see you as being someone where, you know, like it may be difficult to nail down like a time and a date to actually meet you. They might see you as being very busy. Let's get one more. Your future, your pile 2's future spouse, your first initial impression of pile 2, please. Okay, we got mirror. Something about you reminds them of themselves too. There's something, so they might actually, so their first impression of you, pile 2, may be that there's a lot of things about you that remind them of them. Okay, their first impression is that maybe they see that the two of you have a lot in common. Yeah, it's just we got Cupid's arrow here, so there is kind of like that attraction that's there. They might see you as somebody that might run away. I don't know if maybe they're picking up on some avoidant tendencies with you. Like I said, if that's not the case, it may just be that, you know, they see you as being very busy. And so it's, you know, like it's difficult to have you, like first impressions maybe that it's difficult for you to commit to, you know, even just a date, right? Their first impression of you is that maybe something with time commitments. I don't know if you're very live in the moment, and so maybe you don't pay attention to time too much. I don't know if, you know, I have a friend that's like this, and it's funny because she is a Gemini, and we always, you know, and this may be their first impression of you, right? They may understand. It's like, you know, if I'm gonna get pile 2 to be on time to anything, I'm gonna have to tell them that it's earlier than right? Because literally, I have a friend in my friend group where if there's anything going on, if we want her to be there on time, like say if something's happening or going on at 5 o'clock, we'll tell her to be there at 3. And she might make it on time. So there's something like that, something about time commitments. Okay. All right, first initial impression, Ace of Cups. Aw. Let's get a couple more. There's some kind of an instant pull at the heartstrings there, okay? So I am going to say that they do feel an instant, some kind of a connection to you. With the Ace of Cups coming up, though, that is more emotional. 6 of Wands. Oh, yeah. And of course, we're going to delve into each question more, but I'm going to say, instant connection right off the bat with Cupid's arrow there, and then we got the Ace of Cups showing up. We also have the Hermit and then the World in the reverse coming out together. So they kind of, oh, okay, that's the duality. They are noticing kind of a duality maybe to your personality. So they may That's funny. This is a first impression. So, you know, first impressions doesn't have to be like, you know, first, you know, the snapshot of initial meetings. So, you know, they do see the part in you that's very optimistic, maybe where you're kind of a little bit flirty, chatty, maybe even outgoing. There you go, outgoing. And then there's a part, they also see the part of you where maybe in moments you might fade in and out of introspection, right? First impression of you, pile 2, your person, your future spouse might notice. I don't know if you get overstimulated mentally, but they notice that maybe you might check out, maybe like in mid-conversation, and it's just kind of your way of trying to have a buffer, you know, between a lot of the stimulation that's going on. But they see both. They see you being very chatty, very outgoing, and then they see you also being kind of like just more observing and quiet and just watching everything going on. So they see both, okay? They see the duality. There's a duality, whether you're a Gemini or not, there is a duality to your energy, where there are times when you're super outgoing, you might be super flirty, and then there are times when, you know, you might be more in hermit mode, you might be more introspective and stuff like that. And this is, there's very mutable energy. You can go from one, I'm hearing extreme, to the next, but, you know, one mode to the other. You can be both extroverted at times and you can be introverted at times, right? You can be outgoing sometimes, and sometimes you can come off as being shy. Although I wouldn't say it was shy, it might be more reserved. There just might be times when what's going on might be too overly stimulating and you just kind of withdraw within yourself to kind of help serve as that buffer, right? Okay, let's see. Now we're going to get right into the questions, you guys. We want to know if there's an instant connection that they feel with you. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 2? Do you feel an instant connection to pile 2? There's balance. Again, balance coming out. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So they do see the duality in your energy, but they see it as very balanced. And so, you know, you have some people that are just on the go. They're always on all the time in terms of like just, you know, they're outgoing and talking and all the time, or they're the other side of that where they're just constantly a wallflower. They see you as being very, you're like in the middle, you're balanced. And just balanced overall. You're just, they see you as being, this is their first impression of you. They see you as being a very balanced energy. Let's get 2 more. Security. Let's get 1 more. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 2? And we're going to clarify what's going on with rejection there. One more shuffle. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 2, first impression? Do you feel an instant connection to pile 2, King of Wands in reverse, 7 of Cups in reverse? I'm going to say, okay, so right off the bat, 6 of Swords in reverse. there might be kind of like a withdrawn energy they're picking up in you, where they might feel difficult too. They might feel it's difficult initially. We're talking about first impressions, okay? Where they feel that it's difficult to connect to you for some reason. And I will clarify specifically rejection here. There just seems to be initially, like at the very first initial impression, I'm picking up that maybe, I don't know, like I said, there's something about the way that it's like they feel like you're hard to nail down. I don't know if maybe they ask you out on a date and you kind of blow them off maybe. There's interest there. I am picking up that, like they feel instantly interested in you, but as far as a connection goes, at the very first, like, do they feel an instant connection with you? I'm gonna say they're trying to see if there's a connection there, but there's something in your energy pile too. The first initial impression is almost like, it's almost like you won't let them instantly feel a connection to you. It's almost like, especially with rejection here. So they're picking up on there could be a connection there, but they don't instantly feel it because it's almost like you're not allowing it, right? I hope that makes sense. Let's see. We want to know now if there's an instant spark or chemistry. Do you feel an instant spark and chemistry? Is there an instant spark or chemistry with pile 2? I'm hearing you spark their interest, definitely. You definitely, and look at that, we got more, so there's security there, and then we also have rock. We have habitual liar, and we'll figure out what that is. Chemistry, do you feel a chemistry? Oh, it's like lying to yourself, okay. And I wasn't going to get this many. We got mutual feelings, dating, and closed heart. Okay. I am going to say, and again, this is just their first impression. Is there a spark in chemistry that they feel? Yes. Okay. For some reason, though, pile 2, their first impression of you is that you're very avoidant. Now, they may not know to call it avoidant behavior, but that's how you're coming off, the way that you're behaving. I don't know if, like I said, if it's just, I don't know if you're blowing them off. I don't know if you're just making it difficult for them to, nail down an actual date with you, or what the deal is. I'm not quite sure, but they're taking that as, you not really letting things flow, you not letting them get close to you, maybe even you denying that there is any kind of a connection or spark or chemistry there. There's almost is there an instant spark or chemistry here? I feel like there is. I do feel like there is, and I feel like somebody in this connection initially, whether it's unconscious or not, is almost running away from it, okay? The spark and the chemistry. We got wish come true at the back of the deck. Wish fulfillment, all you ever wanted. I'm going to say, yeah, there's definitely an instant, they feel an instant spark or chemistry with you. I am going to say, though, that they might be the ones that are trying to kind of blot it out because they're not sure whether or not it's going to lead to anything. A spark in chemistry can lead to deeper feelings if allowed, right? And it almost feels like they're kind of close, like there's mutual feelings here, so they detect that there is a mutual attraction, there's a mutual spark, there's a mutual chemistry. They definitely want to date you romantically, right, to get to know you, but there's this feeling of like we're closing the heart off for now though, until we see how things go. The spark and chemistry is not going to go anywhere though, and this is here twice. And so, yeah, I'm going to say underneath the fear and underneath the doubt, they do feel a connection with you. They do feel a spark and a chemistry with you. And they're kind of like, for the time being, at least initially, their first initial impression is like holding you at arm's length, because they're not quite sure what your angle is, right? You're someone they can't figure out. They can't figure out what your angle is. They can't figure out if, you know, you're just someone who is just hard to nail down just because that's just part of your personality, or if you're doing that because you don't feel them like that, right? They're not sure yet. So, right? What are we going to do here? We'll put those there. They want to date you. They're wondering if the feelings are mutual, though. We'll say that. What are we doing now? We want to know if they find you physically / sexually attractive from the get-go. Do you find pile 2 physically attractive? Your first impression of pile 2. Do you find them physically, sexually attractive? We got yes. Party, okay. We got party like a stone. Let's get one more. Do you find pile 2? First impression of pile 2. They are physically, sexually attractive to you. A lot of references here about partying. That might be a first impression that they have of you too. They might see you as a party person. Someone that likes to party, maybe somebody that likes to drink. I'm going to say their first impression of you, pile 2, is that there's some initial reservation. They have some reservations about you. They could be like I said, it could be a misconception. This is kind of why they're in a closed-hearted, you know, they approach you kind of with their heart behind, you know, a wall initially, because they don't yet know what your intentions are. That's what it is. It says having drunk sex here. Yeah, I am going to say they do find you physically and sexually attractive. Okay. Let's clarify. They do find you sexually attractive. We have party and then we have drinks here. This could be talking about how you actually meet your person, pile 2. You might meet them at a party. You might meet them at a social gathering. This might be why they have a first impression of you as being somebody that's very outgoing and very chatty. They might see you in an environment where you feel comfortable. I'm picking up some of you might be right in the middle. You might have times where you are super extroverted, and then there might be other times where you're super introverted. Like I said, there's a mutable energy there. So that they first might see you as being somebody who is very chatty, very outgoing, maybe even very flirty. And then at some point, they also see a side of you that may be kind of, you know, where you go and you withdraw or something, or you're very quiet or something like that. Let's see. Tell me more about finding, if you find pile 2 physically, sexually attracted. Page of Swords. This gives me more energy, like the more they talk to you, the more they spend in your energy, the more physically attractive and sexually attractive you become. That's what it's given me with this. We got the Seven of Pentacles here. Like yeah, and then the Wheel of Fortune. So it's like the more they get to know you, the more they talk to you. So I'm going to say, their level of physical attraction to you and the level of your sexual attraction to you really has to deal with the more time they spend, the more they talk to you, the more they get to know you, the more you become physically and sexually attractive to them. Okay, we got the Page of Swords here, the Seven of Pentacles, and then we got the Wheel of Fortune. So, yeah. Okay. We're going to close the reading out now. We got messages about their first impressions of you. I'm going to be pulling from like 3 different decks though, so we still have maybe a good 10 or 15 minutes left, okay? But you guys, if this is resonating, if it's entertaining, if it's providing, you know, or adding to the quality of life in any way, do me a favor, make sure you're smashing that like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below, let me know what pile you picked, to let me know how it resonated. You can become part of the family by hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. All right, pile 2's future spouse, tell me messages about your first impressions of pile 2. What are your messages to pile 2 about your first impressions of them? Leap of faith. They do kind of see you as like taking a risk. Like their first impression is like, you know, if they're gonna date you or be serious about you, there's something risky they see about you. Okay, let's get a couple more. Put away the computer. Oh, maybe they maybe their first impression of you is like, maybe when you're talking to them, maybe, I don't know if you put away your phone, something about either you're on your phone when you talk to them or you're not on, or like, you know, you make it a point to put your phone away while you're talking to them so that they can get your undivided attention. Something about that. So just a heads up, pile 2, this is a heads up for you. Your future spouse does not like when, you know, they prefer to have the phones put away. Like if you're going to be talking to them, spending quality time with them, put the phone away, okay? This also says working less will help strengthen your relationship. Let's get one more. Your messages to pile 2 about your first impression. Decision. Yeah, so their messages about their first impression of you, there's something about their first impression that makes them wonder whether or not you're a sure bet or you're a safe bet. They're associating some kind of a risk with, you know, and it could be because of how you meet. I'm going to say pile 2. No, okay. So if you're not somebody that is normally a party person, but you just so happen to meet this person at a party that maybe you haven't been to a party for a long time, their first initial impression of you may be that that's what you do all the time. Like you party all the time, right? If you're somebody that doesn't drink a lot and you just so happen to meet them at a time when, you know, you're feeling a little tipsy, maybe even possibly drunk, that might be their first impression of you, is that you're somebody that drinks a lot, right? So I'm saying that to say, I'm picking up an energy here, pile 2, that your future spouse's first initial impressions of you, most of them may not be consistent with who you actually are. Okay, we're talking about very first impressions here. They may actually meet you in an environment where that may not be the norm for you, okay? But first initial impressions, it's almost like they see you as, you know, if I'm gonna date, you know, or ask pile 2 out, I might end up regretting this later, right? But they're like, F it, I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna ask pile 2 out anyway. Their message to you about their first impression is that regardless of what their first impression of you might be, they decided to take a leap of faith on dating you anyway. Okay. Let's see, what else are we using here? Pink Love. Okay, Pink Divine Love Oracle. Tell me more about, actually I want to clarify working less, or the put away the computer here. With the Page of Swords that was coming up earlier, and then we also did have the World in reverse. They might be more aware of your online presence. That might be how they first, quote unquote, meet you, is through your online presence. Their first initial impression of you is that maybe you need to spend less time online. You need to spend less time on social media, okay? Very specific energy or message coming through with that one, but we're talking about first impressions, okay? Why is put away the computer here with a chariot? And yeah, it's a chariot in reverse. It's like, stop that. Their first impression of you is that you need to spend less time on social media. You need to spend less time on your phone. You need to spend, this is very, like with the Page of Swords though, with the World in reverse, this is online activities, and I'm picking up social media very heavily, okay? So I'm not talking about those of you where, you know, you work online, you know, I'm talking about, they might see you post a lot of pictures of hanging out with people. So their first impression of you, pile 2, may heavily be coming from your online persona. Okay, I'm picking up people, you know, I'm picking up people that are posting a lot of pictures on Instagram, maybe, you know what I mean? And so they may be getting one side of who they, you know what I mean? Like their first impression, they might be seeing more one side of you than the other. And maybe when they actually meet you in person, that's when they see the other side of you. It's like, oh, okay, you are actually very balanced. Because it's funny how we're kind of going from them seeing you very balanced and very fair, right? We had balance, you know, here a couple of times, to, you know, now it's like, oh, they're only seeing you one way, right? So this is letting me know, pile 2, they get past that first initial impression. So I feel like a lot of you, your future spouse is gonna, their first impression comes from the persona that they see online, right? And then maybe they meet you in person, and then they realize there's a whole other side to your personality than what they're seeing online. Okay. 10 of Wands at the back of the deck in the reverse. Yeah, okay, that's what and I think I picked up on that earlier too. It's like their first initial impression of you, it's not consistent with who you really are. There's a whole other side to you, and that's why it is. I feel like your person really gets to know, their first impression is largely formed from what they see online. And then they get to know you as a person, and they see there's a whole other side to you. You know what I mean? You are actually very balanced. Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Messages to pile 2 about your first impression. Vacation in the reverse. Let's get a couple more. Your first impression of pile, your messages to pile. This is more like almost like taking a break, but we got vacation in reverse though. They might see you as somebody, they might see you as somebody that maybe, messes around too much, like maybe wastes a lot of time. Like I said, we're talking about what they're seeing online. Maybe they see you partying a lot. Maybe it's like, what, you know, maybe they're not seeing you work enough or something. You know what I mean? It's like there's a message, like their first impression is like, do you take life seriously at all? You know what I mean? But yeah, with put away the computer, it says working less will help strengthen your relationship. There's commitment. They do see you as commitment material. They do. But there's something here with vacation in reverse and then putting away the computer. But putting away the computer for me, it's more in context. It's like put away social media. Put away, you know, put that stuff away and actually, you know, I'm going to say, pile 2, if you're somebody that lives your life online, your future spouse is not gonna want to be a large part of that. Not to say that they're not gonna want pictures of them with you and stuff like that online, but this is specifically for those of you where, you know, you post a lot of pictures of, like, if you go on vacation, you post a lot of pictures of you, like partying, hanging out with friends, going out for dinner and drinks and vacations and stuff like that, your outings. They're wondering, quite literally, their first impression of you is like, do you work? You know what I mean? It's something like that. But like I said, they get past that part, okay? That they get past that because when they meet you in person, they realize there's a whole other side to you that is not, you know what I mean? That's not seen on social media. For those of you where that applies. It's funny because we got, I mean, there's 2 dichotomies here because I am picking up on those, for those of you where maybe it is because you work a lot and maybe a lot of your work is online and maybe that, you know, maybe they're not understanding that for those of you where social media is part of how you work, they may understand that after they get to know you in person, like, oh no, I'm online a lot because that's how I do my work. That's how I get paid. That could be where this working less will help strengthen your relationship. Okay, so let me find out what, some of you may be artists. That may be what you share online is a lot, you know. If you're not, muse can be artistic, inspiration, entertainment. Like, yeah, first impression, they do actually find you, pile 2, very entertaining. But first impressions of you, though, is that you spend too much time online. That's their impression, first impressions of you. Whether or not that's going to change once they get to know you, like I said, once they meet you in person, they see that things are actually quite balanced. But there is something here with like, okay, but if we're going to be together, you know, maybe spend more time with me, you know, versus spending all your time online. Let's get one more message about your first impressions of pile 2. With commitment here, they do see you as commitment material, though. Okay, someone worth committing to, someone worth putting, you know, the effort in terms of, you know, the time, energy, and resources that goes towards building a relationship together. They do see you as worth all that. Let's get one more. This is the last message. Messages to pile 2 about your first impression of them. Nothing is yet set in stone. Mutable, more mutable energy. And this is talking about their first impression, okay? So it's like, yeah, they're wanting you to know that, you know, however this reading is making you feel about their first impression of you, pile 2, they want you to know that first impression, it may not be very favorable at the very, very first, but they end up changing their mind about it. Like I said, at the very beginning, it ends up being, they see you as very balanced. They see you as very fair. They get more of why you are the way that you are, right? They understand that maybe they judged you too harshly based off of just first appearances, first impressions, and stuff like that. Their first impression of you is not set in stone. That's their message to you, okay? And we get that back at the very beginning. Like they see you as somebody that's very clever, very witty, collaborative, intelligent, and stuff like that. And so, you know, yeah, they may have seen pictures or see pictures of you, or maybe see you in an environment where, you know, at first they might think, oh, that, you know, pile 2's a party person. They don't take life seriously. They're just blah, 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 right? They get past that. And then they get to know who you really are. All right, let's see. And then we got at the very back of the deck of that one, it says a personal issue reaches resolution. Their message to you about their first impression is that they realize shortly after actually getting to know you that they got you all wrong. Their first impression of you was all wrong. Okay, you guys, in terms of like the maybe less than flattering things they may have thought about you and stuff like that. All right, pile 2, that was your reading. Thank you for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next future spouse pick a card reading. Bye, guys. Hello, pile 3. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We are doing another future spouse pick a card reading. We are tapping into the energy and finding out your future spouse's first impression of you. I will be doing another future spouse reading where I'll be tapping into your first impression of them at another time, probably in a couple of days. This one is just their first impression of you. Okay, pile 2. So some of the, pile 3, sorry. So some of the things that we're going to be asking, I'm going to be finding out what their overall impression is of you. And then I'm going to be asking specific questions like, does your future spouse, you know, first impressions, do they feel an instant connection with you? Do they feel an instant spark or chemistry? Upon like their first impression of you, do they find you physically and or sexually attractive? And then we're going to close the reading out with messages to you about their first impression. Okay, so let's see. Pile 3, just remember, it's a general reading. That means whatever resonate. If it resonates, then, you know, you can take that. Whatever does not resonate, just drop that, leave it behind for somebody for whom it might resonate. And, you know, feel free that if nothing in here resonates, just, this is not your pile. Just maybe go pick another pile. Yeah, and then if you want me to tap exclusively into you and your future spouse's energy, I do have personal readings available. Just check the description box below for booking details. There's a lot of $25 readings available in the future spouse category. Okay, so you guys were drawn to, let's see, this is pink tourmaline and quartz. Pink tourmaline in quartz. Okay, clear quartz. You guys were drawn to that, and this can be very good for healing the heart chakra, healing, you know, anything that has to do with maybe issues with love. Pink tourmaline paired with clear quartz, that's like amplifying or really clarifying issues of the heart. Okay, so we'll see if that factors into the reading at all. Let's get overall energies real quick. We have we got this coming out in the reverse, so thief in the reverse. So I'm going to read the shadow attribute. It says stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. So we'll see how that factors into their first impression. And then we also have 11th house, which is ruled by Aquarius and the planet Uranus. And then we have society, social justice, charity groups, memberships, humanitarian, futuristic, science fiction, wishes, liberty. Let's get some other overall impressions here with island time wellness. Show me more for pile 3. Your first impression of pile 3. Okay, we got love call. Let's get 2 more. We got photograph showing up in the reverse. Let's get 1 more. Your first impression of pile 3. Hand of cards. I am going to say, pile 3, for some reason, your future spouse, their first initial impression of you may be that there's something risky about, you. Could be talking about, you know, being strategic as well. Let's find out what this is about. Tell me more about your first initial impressions about pile 3. Okay. A message that's coming through is first, in this, we're just talking about first impressions, you guys, okay? Your first impression, or your person's first impression of you, is they're wondering whether or not what they're seeing is what they're getting. There's a first impression that your future spouse has of you, pile 3, for some reason is, you know, whether or not you're being authentic, or if I'm picking up specifically pictures, right? Like what you're portraying. Is that really what's going on? Pile 3's future spouse, your first impression of pile 3. A message that's coming through is their first impression is they're wondering if you're just putting on a mask or a show for the crowd. They're not quite sure, pile 3, that what they're seeing is what they're getting. That what they're seeing is what's really true about you. Yeah, for some reason, pile 3, their first impression of you, they're questioning your authenticity. We're just talking about first impressions, okay? Give me a couple more. We got the 7 of Wands in reverse. They wonder if your intentions are good. They're wondering if you're behaving or saying things or making things out to be in a certain way to kind of get their guard down, or just get people's guards down. They're questioning. I'm just being honest, pile 3. Your future spouse's first impression of you is they're wondering whether or not you're authentic, if you're being real. They're wondering if you're putting on a show, and if you're putting on a show as a way to try to like manipulate, or your person may have trust issues, okay, pile 3. I'm just going to say, because with shadow attributes here, in terms of like thief, they're wondering if you're out to get their money, you know, if you're out to steal, you know what I mean? So there's almost a thing here. They're wondering if they're being manipulated, basically, is what it is. That's their first impression of you. They're not quite sure that what they're getting or what they're seeing is what they're getting. Let's get one more. Chariot in reverse. We got Cancer energy showing up. So far we got Aquarius, Cancer, And then we got water, that's Cancer again, and then also Scorpio, Pisces for those who care about those things. Your future spouse's first initial impression, I'm going to even say their first initial instinct is to put on the brakes, you know, for some reason. And I have a feeling, you know, like with photograph in reverse, it may have something to do with the way you portray yourself online. Something like that. There's just something that they're not trusting about what you're portraying. And then we got the Chariot in reverse, and then at the back of the deck we got the Nine of Wands in reverse. Yeah, they're thinking of, their first impression is that there's something about you that they think as it's a huge risk. If their first impression is like, is pile 3 a risk worth taking? They're wondering if your communication with them is authentic. If it's coming from an authentic place. With the King of Cups in reverse, they really question that. If you mean what you say, and if you say what you mean. They really, their first impression of you, pile 3, is that you have ulterior motives. Okay. Let's see. What are we doing now? We want to know if they feel like there's an instant connection. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 3? Do you guys want to know why maybe they're coming from that space? I'm feeling like that might be a yes. For those of you where, you know, you want to know maybe why they're kind of judging you that way, let's see. We'll get more information on that. I haven't done this for the other ones, but, you know, I just kind of go where the readings take me. I want to know, why are they seeing you this way, though? Why is this their first impression? And actually, at the very beginning, we do get messages about their first impression to you at the very end. You know, I'm sure there'll be some information coming out about why this was their first impression of you. Let's get one more shuffle, but I want to see why. Why is this their first impression of you? Why is this your first impression of pile 3? Let's get one more. We got the Empress in reverse coming out right away. 4 of Cups. And then what is that? The 10 of Wands. You might remind them of somebody. You might remind them of somebody that they used to know. Who is this Empress in reverse? Yeah, okay. You remind them of somebody. That's what it is, okay? We got the 4 of Wands in reverse, and then we got the Knight of Wands in reverse. You remind them of somebody that may have cheated on them. This could even be, maybe this could be the mother of their children. Okay, this is a feminine energy here. This could be the mother of their children. This could be their actual mother. You just remind them of a feminine energy. And I'm not saying gender, I'm saying energy, right? Where that energy was, there's a broken marriage here, or a broken relationship, or they're, you know, not quite, you know, someone with Knight of Wands energy that really messed up what could have been a happy home. This is why they're seeing you through the lens of someone else, okay? That's basically what's going on here. Yeah. What's the 4 of Cups? That may be them feeling rejected by whomever this Empress in reverse energy was in their life. So this Empress in reverse energy is either going to be like an ex of theirs, an ex-spouse of theirs, a parent, specifically a feminine energy though, okay? And or, you know, baby mama, more than likely. It could be a baby daddy, but you get what I'm saying. Oh, let's just go to the Four of Cups. Yeah, this is them defending against rejection. This is somebody they felt rejected by, okay? So that's why they're seeing you through the lens. You remind them somehow of this past person. And I'm sure maybe at the very end when we get down to the messages about why they have this first impression of you, you know, what it is about you that reminds them of that past energy. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on, or move through the reading though. We're going to find out if they feel an instant connection to you. Do you feel an instant connection to pile? Look, yes they do. Chemistry. That might be what it is too. There might be a chemistry that they feel with you, a spark that they feel with you that felt very familiar to them. Okay, let's get a couple more. This feels like them not trusting what they feel, because the last time they felt this way, they got burned by somebody, okay? So their first impression of you, pile 3, is largely based off of their experience with someone else, okay? And I'm picking up this energy of them kind of, yeah, we'll keep going. There's a lot of information wanting to flow through, though. Do you feel an instant connection to pile 3? Differences. There's chemistry, but then, you know, there's also the differences. This is like a yes and a no. This is your person sabotaging, I'm feeling like, pile 3. Getting in their own way. Yes, they feel a connection. Yes, they feel a chemistry. There's the soul connection. Yes, yes, and yes. They definitely feel. So actually, we already know now that they feel the chemistry right off the bat, but they also feel a soul connection right off the bat. We'll figure out what's going on with differences here. What's the differences here? That's kind of, I'm hearing that's their way of watering it down. They focus on your guys' differences. They notice, you know what I mean? It's kind of that energy, and it's self-sabotaging. But it's kind of like their subconscious's way of keeping them safe. It's very sabotaging, but it's also subconsciously it's a self-preservative thing, right? Self-preservation, whatever they call that. There's the 3 of Wands, which can talk about visions of the future. Maybe what, you know, they're letting their differences, they're letting what they perceive to be differences get in the way when it comes to whether or not they feel like that instant connection with you. But they do. They feel an instant connection. They also feel an instant chemistry. There's the 4 of Wands in the upright position. Very much. They very much feel an instant connection with you. Very much. And you do remind them a lot of that past person. Their soul recognizes yours. And with differences here with the 3 of Wands, it's almost giving me this energy of, you know, and then we got the King of Swords in the reverse position. What's that energy here for? This is your person trying to hold on to... This is your person trying not to lose their head. The World in reverse. They haven't wrapped up their... They haven't really... whatever that connection is with that Empress in reverse energy, in their head, they haven't wrapped their mind around what happened. They haven't put it in its proper place. That filter is there because they haven't they haven't gained a whole new perspective. They haven't done the shadow work. You know what I mean? And so that's skewing the connection that they feel. Like I said, it's like they're letting their past get in the way, basically. Okay. So the answer to whether or not they feel an instant connection, yes, they do. They feel a soul connection. Do they feel an instant spark / chemistry? Yes, it's right there. Right? We are going to go ahead and find out more about the spark and chemistry they feel, though. What's the spark and chemistry you feel with Pile? You got separation, withdrawal, disconnect. That's what causes them. They feel that instant connection and that draw with you, right? And it's something subconscious. It's something that their mind is like, nope, we can't go through this again. We can't go through what we went through with that Empress energy in reverse. We need to withdraw. We need to disconnect. So the way that they do that is by hyper focusing on and questioning your authenticity. Okay. There's something that you do, though. I don't know if it's like you taking a lot of pictures or what it is, or something that you do that reminds them a lot of the ex, or, you know, the parent, or whoever that Empress energy in reverse is. Give me 2 more for whether or not you feel an instant chemistry / got against time. They fight it. Yes, they fight it. They fight the chemistry. Aw. See, the reason being because Pile 3, your person felt all these things for someone else before, and I feel like Pile 3, it honestly feels like your person may have had a run-in with, you know, a narcissist. Okay, somebody that said all the right things in the beginning, did all the right things. You know, somebody that may have legitimately actually stolen from them. Somebody that may have been after their, you know, if it wasn't their money they were after their energy, they were after their validation, you know what I mean? It's just what love bombing and narcissists and stuff like that do. I feel like your person had a run-in with someone like that came off very strong in the very beginning, you know, sold them a dream, and then just shattered whatever that dream was. And so now they're wondering, it's like now they're feeling those similar things, and there may be certain things or ways that you come off or ways that you behave or something. There's something that you do that reminds them heavily of what someone else from their past, that Empress energy in reverse, used to do. And that's what they're focusing on. It's a self-preservation. Yeah, it's self-preservation. It's a subconscious or unconscious way of keeping them safe from going down that road again. And so their first impression of you, it's not even really based off of you, right? It's based off of the past. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. With and then we got extravagant gestures. They instant spark, instant chemistry, and they don't feel that causes them to almost want to separate themselves from you, distance themselves. This could be an actual, you know, distancing themselves from you mentally, distancing themselves from you emotionally, and definitely distancing themselves from you physically. But the way that people tend to distance themselves from someone mentally and emotionally, that they feel a strong pull towards, is by way of focusing on, you know, things about that person that maybe aren't, you know what I mean, like what they might perceive as faults. Sometimes this is very avoidant energy, right? This is that energy of somebody that might be very dismissive avoidant, just avoidant, fearful avoidant, or something like that, to keep themselves from what your future spouse is. And again, this is first initial impressions, okay? This is somebody that you do end up, you know, with. We're talking about your future spouse. first initial impression though is that you're gonna do to them what somebody else did to them, and it's solely based off of how they feel about you, the attraction they feel towards you. You know, there is something very familiar about the way you make your future spouse feel, where they're like, oh, the last time I felt like this, I got my heart and my dreams shattered. Okay. But again, I'm sure we'll get some more information about, you know, their first impressions of you at the very end when we talk about messages, their messages to you about their first impressions. Okay. What are we going to do now? We're going to find out if they find you physically and sexually attractive. First impressions. Do you instantly find pile 3 physically, sexually attractive? Yes, I heard a yes. Do you find pile 3 physically, sexually attractive? Okay, I'm picking up energies where, and this is the message from your future spouse about that past person. They saw that past person as being for the streets, so to speak, right? That Empress energy in reverse could have been very attractive. With 11th house here, somebody that was just like community property, right? You might be very outgoing. You might just be somebody that is very chatty, you know, maybe you have a large group of friends. Maybe you just get along with a lot of people with 11th house energy here, right? This is their first impressions of you. They might see you as somebody that's very social, and that might remind them of how their ex, or, you know, whoever that Empress energy in reverse energy was, is being very social, but you know, the ex was very social in a different kind of way. Okay, not genuine. You know, I am picking up on a cheater here, not your future spouse, but their ex, or that Empress energy in reverse. Do you find pile 3 instantly? Do you instantly find them physically, sexually attractive? I keep hearing yes, but I want to. We got maybe. Said no. They don't want to admit to it. We got old school. I'm hearing classic. Yes, in a very classic kind of a way. Let's get one more. Yeah, there's a thief again. Your future spouse's first impression of you, pile 3, is that you're a stealer of hearts. They wonder if you steal hearts. They wonder what your ulterior motives is, and whether or not you use your physical attractiveness and or your sexuality as a way to get what you want from other people. Yes, they do find you physically and sexually attractive. They do. And they're wondering whether or not, you know, if you get bored with traditional kinds of relationships, your person, pile 3, may be somebody who might be more into monogamy. I don't know if you might be coming off as somebody that might be interested in something more open, or if you're into polyamory. There is, with old school here, when asking about physically attractive, right? There's like there's almost like a timelessness to your beauty, like a classic beauty, maybe even a natural beauty. And then at the bottom of the deck, we also have another yes, but it says pregnancy, children involved in inner child wounds. Yeah, your attractiveness, and this is overall, okay? When they're attracted to somebody, or physically or sexually attracted, or they see somebody like that, I don't know if you're somebody that has no problem embodying your sexuality. Like, you know you're sexy and you have no problem just living in that energy, which is great, you know, right? You know, that could be it too. Your person, your future spouse might, what's going on here with this energy? Hold on, let me find out. This is letting me know, I don't know, one of you likes something more conservative, maybe your future spouse. Let me dig a little deeper here. Because we got conservative, traditional values and does not like change. I'm almost picking up here, pile 3, that your future spouse does not appreciate someone that might, you know, like your future spouse prefers someone to maybe dress more conservatively. And what I mean like conservatively, I don't necessarily mean like, oh, you know, you're going around and, you know, short mini skirts with your ass hanging out all the time and stuff like that. And that's neither here nor there if you are, right? Your body, your choice. I'm talking about people that can just, you know, wear a cute little sundress or something. But, you know, when you embody sexual energy, it doesn't matter what you wear. You're sexy in it no matter what. And it almost feels like this conservative is going towards the energy of sexuality itself. Your future spouse at this point in time, pile 3, does not feel comfortable with someone who is comfortable in their sexual energy, because their experience of somebody that was comfortable in their sexual energy was someone that would cheat on them, lie to them. They used that sexual energy for evil to get what they wanted, to manipulate other people. I hope that makes sense. God, this energy here feels more like what they prefer. They're letting you know what they want, but it's kind of a catch-22, because they are attracted to somebody that embodies their physical sexual energy. It's very magnetic. It's very attractive. It's very alluring, right? It's fucking hot. It's hot, right? It's sexy. And you got somebody here with some fear and some experiences from their past with somebody that used that energy for a very bad reason. Because you can embody sexuality and embody that sexual god or goddess energy and use it for, you know, empowering your romantic partner, right? But that's not what happened with this person in the past. And so, yeah, I do feel like they feel sexually attracted to you, physically attracted to you, and they're like, could you not embody that so perfectly, right? Because it makes them feel uncomfortable. Like I said, it reminds them of that past person. They're afraid that you're going to use that energy for malicious reasons, okay? What's boredom here for? Yeah, they're afraid you're going to get bored with them. We got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, and then we got the Tower. Like, it's only a matter of time. Like, you know, I will say your person is not, and maybe this might be their impression of you, okay? I don't know if there's an online persona, if there's something about maybe photos of you that they're seeing. First impressions of you, pile 3, might be that you have what's called a pick-me energy that they don't like, that they might get bored with, that they might find unattractive. I don't know if there's... that's a message that's coming through. First impression. And I feel like this first impression might come from online, might come from photos. If, for instance, if you meet this person on a dating app or something like that, they might get the energy from your photos, you know, that you're kind of a pick-me type of an energy, like choose me, right? they might wonder, that's why they might wonder, okay, is this really who you are, or are you just, you know what I mean? It's that kind of an energy. And with, you know, do they find that attractive? No, they're actually bored with that. They're looking for authenticity. And at the same time, there's something very familiar about your energy. Not to say that it's not authentic. I'm talking about their first impression. Which isn't fair, because they keep comparing you to this ex-person of theirs. Oh, my ex used to pose like that. My ex used to, you know, wear clothes like that. My ex used to, you know, say those things, or used to flirt like that, and things of that nature. Which may cause them. Of course, we are talking about your future spouse. We're going to get to the messages part. I'm very interested to see your future spouse's messages about their first impressions of you, because we are talking about somebody that you do end up marrying. So obviously you guys get past this energy, right? But their first impression of you is almost like a thank you next, because the first impression they're getting of you, whether it's in person or through pictures, for a lot of you, I feel it's through pictures and maybe some kind of text communication, flirting, right? There's a way that you look and that you're portraying yourself, and maybe a way that you carry yourself conversationally, that your person is like, oh, that reminds me so much of so and so, and they don't like it. It's almost like it's a matter of time before this thing shifts, right? Before it tanks. Anyway, okay. What we're going to do now, yes, we are going to get now to their messages to you about their first impression. This is this is what I'm curious to hear. Okay, your messages to pile 3 about your first impression. Your messages to pile 3, release, okay? Radical acceptance and surrender can help you let go. So this might be, you know, I've got 3 decks to pull from. Let's get a couple more. Okay, so we got release in the upright position, followed by trust in the reverse. It says it is safe to trust in this situation. This is something they're needing to release, is their mistrust, right? That's something that they end up working on or realizing that they need to release. Whatever was causing them not to trust the situation, which was not you, right? We got children again. That might be something, because we got children coming up twice. I don't know if you have kids. This could be talking about them having children, and that energy pointing to, you know, who that Empress energy in reverse is. Like they need to stop. Like, this is their message to you about their first impression. They were viewing you through the lens of maybe somebody they had kids with, or they were viewing you through the lens of someone, you know, they were viewing you through the lens of their inner child. Okay, like I said, that Empress energy in reverse could be, you know, they could have grown up watching one of their parents cheat on the other, right? And so whether this is children in relation to, like, the Empress energy is the baby mom, and, you know, they have children with that person, baby mama or baby daddy, or that Empress energy in reverse is like a parent. It could be both, right? This could be a pattern. This could also be true if you have kids and maybe they don't trust you and an ex, right? Like if you have kids with someone, they, you know, that Empress energy in reverse could have had a really bad habit, like if they had kids, of messing with whomever the parent of those kids were, like messing with their ex, right? Your future spouse's ex could have messed with their exes. I hope that makes sense. But they're saying here, like their message to you about their first impression really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's largely based off of the mistrust that they had and needing to release that, needing to release and let go. Because again, we're talking about someone where, you know, eventually you guys get past this energy and they you know, you guys do end up getting married. Messages to pile 3 about, there we go, look at that. And it's right beneath release. It says clearing up bad vibes. Okay, they end up working through their mistrust issues, and eventually they do get to a point where they see that they weren't seeing you clearly. They were seeing you through the lens as if you were someone else. Okay, so they realize eventually that their first impression of you wasn't really of you at all. They had you all wrong. Okay, let's get a couple more. While I'm getting these energies out, you guys, make sure if you're getting any value from this reading, if it is providing any kind of entertainment or adding to the quality of your life in any way, comment below. Let me know what pile you picked. Let me know how it resonated. Smash that like button for me. It's a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Hit that subscribe button to become part of the family, along with the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for all your guys' comments and engagement and all that good stuff. Look at that with Summer. Warmth and positive vibes. Look, I love that. Clearing up bad vibes, and then they end up feeling warmth and positive vibes. Like, see, they stop seeing you through the lens of someone else, and they actually start seeing you for who you are. Okay, let's get one more. Got investment, but it wanted to pop up in reverse. It's a stability, wise, practical income of money. They are a little bit, okay, so this is just an FYI and a heads up for you, pile 3. Your person is gonna be a little bit, what's that word? When it comes to their money, it's gonna take them a little bit longer to release, I don't want to say control. There's something about money here. I feel like they were used by their ex or whomever, you know, whomever that Empress energy in reverse was, whether it was their parent growing up or if it was their ex. Either your future spouse was used for their money, or they saw other people being used for their money. And so they're going to restrict or keep that to themselves, you know. I'm trying to find out, how do you say that? They're not going to allow you open access, or they're not going to allow you to, you know, this is giving me vibes of somebody that's not going to spoil you financially, at least in the very beginning. This is giving me energies of delaying that part of it. Like, that's going to be the very last thing they kind of let go of, because they don't know. They want to make sure your person could actually be, they could be wealthy, pile 3. Your future spouse could actually make a lot of money or have access to a lot of money or something like that, because I feel like they were used for money in the past, or they saw people being used for money. And so that's the last thing. It's like they kind of, I'm seeing them clutching on to, like, you know, their investments or their wallet or their purse. You know, that's the last thing they let go of. That's the last thing. That's just a heads up. So, you know, if your thing with your future spouse is you want them to pamper you, you want them to, like, send you on shopping sprees, and you want them to, like, pay for everything right out the gate, that's not going to be your future spouse, okay? You can accept that or reject that. I'm not saying that they're never going to do that, but they're going to hold off on doing that until they see, or at least get a really good feel that, you know, you're not with them for their money. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Not saying that they never will, but that's the last thing they let go of or surrender to this connection. Let's see. One more. We're going to get, let's see, messages to pile 3 about your first impression. Don't let your past hold you back. Yeah, this is them, right? And they are recognizing that this is why they're saying it's not you. They're judging you according to somebody else they dealt with in the past. Okay? They do realize that. You're not being judged fairly. They realize that. They come to that realization at some point. And then we got at the back of the deck, work through your fears, which is them, you know, releasing through whatever it was that caused them not to trust. Them working through whatever it was that caused them to form this kind of an initial impression of you. All right, you guys. We're going to end your reading there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next future spouse pick a card reading. Bye, guys. Hi, Pile 4. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We are doing another future spouse pick a card reading. We are tapping into the energy of what their first impression is going to be about you. I will be doing another separate reading where I will be getting your first impression of them. Okay, probably in the next couple of days or so I'll get that reading done. But this one is specifically, it's all about your future spouse's first impression of you. Okay, Pile 4? So let's see. Some of the things we're going to talk about in this reading. We're going to do an overall, what their overall general impression is of you, their first impression. And then we're going to get specific. We're going to ask, like, you know, first impressions. Do they feel an instant connection to you? Do they feel an instant spark / chemistry? Do they find you physically / sexually attractive, you know, upon meeting you? Or their first impression, right? And then at the very end, we're going to find out, we're going to tie the reading up with like their messages to you about their first impression, okay? So let's see, just keep in mind, you guys, this is a general reading. Whatever resonates, you can keep that. If something does not resonate, definitely drop that and leave it for somebody else from whom it might resonate. And just, if nothing in this really resonates at all, that just means it's not your pile. You can just either go pick another pile or go watch another video, okay, you guys? All right, pile, let's see, 4. You guys were drawn to the Amethyst tooth. And then their overall, let's see, we got 2 for you on this one. We got Detective and Scribe, and these are in the upright position. So, light attributes, we got great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth. Heavy Sagittarius vibes coming through on that one. Possibly the Scorpio vibes coming through too. We got Scribe with preserving knowledge and information. Oh, wow. Those two actually go really good together. So we got great powers of observation and intuition, desire to seek out the truth, and then preserving knowledge and information. And then 10th house down here, that's Capricorn energy. So Sagittarius already, Scorpio and Capricorn coming through. Interesting. Your person sees you as very powerful, Pile 4. Their first impression of you is someone that's actually very powerful. The first impression of you too is that nothing can be hidden from you. Somehow their first impression of you, Pile 4, is that don't even bother lying to you. Somehow they know this. Like, don't lie to Pile 4. They're gonna find out. And this could just be them picking up on, I don't know if you're able to read people really well. You might be in some kind of a, you know, I don't know if you do background checks or what the deal is, but your person just sees you as someone. It's like you can't, their first impression of you, Pile 4, is they can't, don't bother trying to get anything past Pile 4. That's her first impression of you. Don't bother trying to get anything past Pile 4. You know, you might as well just come to Pile 4 correct, be honest and transparent up front, because Pile 4 is going to find out about it anyway, right? There is almost them picking up on, they're kind of intimidated by you. First impression, Pile 4. They are, whether or not they're conscious of it, they are picking up on kind of like they're picking up on, everybody is divine, but some people are just not really involved or embodying it right. They're still kind of on the lower end, and they're needing to do shadow work. But with you, I feel like, you know, you might be somebody who has done a lot of, you've had an awakening, maybe a lot of awakenings, you've done a lot of clearing work, and so you might be very tapped in with your higher self, universal knowledge, universal wisdom. You just, I feel like you have a very clear read on energy, right? Somehow your person's, your future spouse's first impression, they pick up on that. They just know right off the bat. Don't lie to pile 4. They're going to find out anyway, okay? Somehow that's their first impression, okay? Let's see. Let's find out more. Their first impression of you, pile 4, I feel like you have a gaze to you. Like a look, right? Like you can see right through them. Their first impression of you is like, when you look at them, it's like you can see right through their soul. This is bringing up to my grandmother used to be, she was a dispatcher for the police department. And then before that, she was an actual cop, right? An actual police officer. And she had that gaze, like you couldn't lie to my grandma. She just knew, right? And I'm seeing that gaze in my mind. And that's this person. There's just something. There's something about either your look or your energy or your aura, or just all of it put together. It's just like, don't bother lying to pile 4. Pile 4's got your number, right? Pile 4 knows the deal. Don't bother lying. Their first impression of you is that you have a good reputation, or you are a very reputable person. With the 10th house here, this says, okay, yeah, with public image, right? Public image, fame, honors, awards, ambition, achievements, career status. There's reputation, influence, dominant parent. Yeah. Their first impression of you, pile 4, is you're a force to be reckoned with. So don't even try. Don't even try. Definitely their first impression of you. They're a little bit intimidated. I want to say scared even. Okay. But we are talking about your future spouse. And so, they see you as a very strong personality. Very strong personality. Okay. Let's, get more. Tell me more about your first impressions of pile 4, please. Not today. Like, no, we're not dealing with that bullshit today, right? It's like, no, we're not doing that today. They see you as like, don't F with pile 4. Don't waste pile 4's time. Pile 4 does not have time for BS, okay? Pile 4 does not have time for any kind of foolishness. That's their first impression of you, pile 4. Let's get a couple more. I'm hearing that meme, all those different memes and videos of people like, don't be coming in here with all that BS, right? That's pretty much, that's how they see you. Like, you telling them, don't come up here with that BS. I ain't got time for drama. I ain't got time for BS. I ain't got time for lies. I ain't got time for nobody kind of trying to come in here and just waste some, ain't nobody got time for that, right? That's how they see you. Like, don't be wasting pile 4's time. Don't be doing that. It's almost a feeling that they'll be, there you go, ascending. Like, don't get in pile 4's way. Just don't. Pile 4's on a mission. Even if it's a mission of just soul evolvement, right? It's like, you know, don't do it. Don't get in pile 4's way. Pile 4 is ascending. Pile 4 is moving through roadblocks. Pile 4 is on a mission. You know, unless you're moving with pile 4, get out of pile 4's way. All right, first impression of pile 4, please. They see you as very powerful, pile 4. Not your future spouse's first impression of you. I got 2 more. Okay. Axe and kisses. I'm seeing a couple of things with that, with axe and kisses. Yes, axe is like, stop all the BS, right? And with kisses coming in, it's almost like you're very respectful of it. You know, I'm not picking up an energy with you where you're mean or you're mean-spirited or anything like that. There is almost this there's this understanding, like, okay, you know, you're on a mission, you're on a roll even. It's like, don't anybody, you know, don't nobody mess with my vibe kind of issue, kind of energy, right? You'll cut it off quickly, but you'll do it with tact, right? With kisses. You'll do it. You have no problem. You're like, I'll cut you off. No, I'll still love you. I'll still respect you. But I will cut you off, right? And so they're seeing you as someone who is I'm hearing diplomatic. You don't put up with any BS, but you're also very loving. You know, because you do have that ascended way of looking. You do have that, you look at things from a 30,000 foot view. You're able to see, like, you don't take a lot personally. When somebody's trying to come in with some BS, you're like, okay, you're on that low vibe stuff. You know, it's not, you don't necessarily judge what they do, because you know that people behave out of pain. They react out of pain, out of wounded egos and wounded inner children and stuff like that. So you put things in a proper place. You don't judge the person, you judge maybe the behavior. And you're like, I ain't got time for that behavior. I don't have time for that foolishness. I love you. You're whatever. You know, you will cut somebody off though. And you'll do it in love, right? They see you like that. It's like they see you. So you'll cut someone off and you'll tell them, I love you, but no. Right? I love you, but no. Okay, let's see. Now we want to know whether or not they feel an instant connection with you. Do you feel an instant connection with pile 4 upon meeting? Your first impression of pile 4, do you feel an instant connection? Whoa, a lot coming up. Yes, they do. Instant connection. Yes, they do. Okay. I'm hearing instant fascination too. There's something different about you that they haven't really ever encountered in someone else. Okay. There's a freedom to your energy. Something about your energy also feels like they have the freedom to be vulnerable and to open up, because they are picking up on this energy where you do have the ability to not judge a person because of their actions. You see why people behave and act the way that they do, right? You see that that's coming from a place of pain. And so they feel very safe with you. Like they feel like you give them permission to open up, which, yeah, it's almost, yeah, that's a very powerful energy. I'm picking up messages, pile 4, that you help people. They do feel connected to you. So your future spouse does feel an instant connection with you because there's something in your energy that gives them permission to connect to their authentic self and just to themselves in general. You give people permission to connect to their pain, to connect to their inner child, to connect to their wounds, and then to connect to themselves. And so they feel safe in your energy and understood. So yes, they feel an instant connection. It runs deep. That connection runs very deep. With Spy here and Memories, this might be somebody where you first connect online, or even through your online posts or your photos or whatever you might be doing online, they're able to connect to you there as well. Yeah, they feel an instant connection to you, okay? Instant connection, and it goes deep. It goes deep. Now we're going to find out whether or not they feel an instant spark or chemistry. Do you feel an instant spark or chemistry with pile 4? Pile 4's future spouse. Do you feel an instant spark / chemistry? Do you feel an instant spark / chemistry with pile 4? Pile 4's future spouse. Oppression. Oh no, that says depression. An instant spark or chemistry. Do you feel an instant spark or chemistry with pile We got not budging, and then we have spell work in the reverse. Okay, so this is going to be a no. They don't feel an instant chemistry or a spark right at first. Okay, and it may be because of this with the depression here and that depression not budging. Let's clarify. There may be something in the energy too that may be that part of the connection might actually be blocked with spell work in the reverse here. Because maybe that part of the connection, there might be a deep, yeah, there's a deeper, okay, so there's a deeper purpose to this connection with your future spouse. That upon first impression, if the spark / the chemistry was felt first, it may have gotten in the way of the deeper purpose. I hope that makes sense. Because with spell work here in the reverse, it's like that's giving me like magician energy, like the power is there. The power is definitely there for that spark in that spark in that chemistry. The power is there. And it's being blocked. It's being depressed. It's being oppressed. I actually first saw oppressed, like it's being oppressed, right? Not budging. Because something about that energy might get in the way of what is, there's a deeper connection. Let's find out more about it. So the answer to that question is do they feel an instant spark / chemistry with you? The answer to that question is no, because, right? There's actually something going on energetically that blocks your future spouse from being able to feel that initial spark in the chemistry, because I feel like maybe something, if they did, it would mess something up in this connection. So it's like being divinely blocked or something like that with spell work in reverse here. The energy is there. The spark and the chemistry is there, but they're not instantly able to pick up on it, okay? And there's a reason for that. Let's find out more. What's going on with this energy? Judgment. What's going on with this energy? Did something else? No, okay. Seven of Cups in reverse. It would have confused things. Page of Wands in the Chariot. Oh, it would have moved things. Okay, that's it. Yeah. This is energetic, right? Yeah, the spark and the chemistry is there, but your future spouse was, the first impression, they're blocked from feeling it initially for a reason, okay? It would have confused things. It would have messed things up. It would have made things move, and it would have made things move faster than what they needed to move with the Page of Wands here in the Chariot. Like I said, there's something going on very deep that, you know, if they felt that chemistry and that spark at the very get-go, it would have, I feel like it would, there's almost like something premature would have happened. I feel like the communication between you guys initially is very soulful, right? Because the instant spark and chemistry wasn't there. I'm talking about like that chemistry it's almost like that sexual attraction, right? So that part of it was like diluted. so that that soul connection could be built, because there's something that is so much more deeper at work here that had the chemistry and the spark had been, it would have gone out of control fast. There's some kind of a, and we'll get to the very end where we talk about messages about their first impression. The reason why, you know, why they're having the first impressions, you know, might come through in their messages, but there's just something here that the spark and the chemistry between you two had to be blocked, had to be muted, had to be, you know, diluted even in the very beginning, because it would have messed something up in this connection. There's a deeper purpose here. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Your connection is meant to resurrect something within your person, something that has been oppressed, something that may be making them depressed. And the chemistry and the spark would have distracted them from that. With the Page of Wands energy, they would have ran with that, right? They would have completely ran with the surface level stuff rather than allowing things to happen more at a deeper level. We'll put it that way. Okay. Let's see. Let's find out if they find you sexually, physically attractive. First impressions, do you instantly find pile 4 physically, sexually attractive? Do you instantly find pile 4 physically, sexually attractive? I'm hearing yes. Let's see what came out here. There's ghosting with no. We're getting 3 cards though, okay? Give me a minute. Do you find pile 4 instantly, physically attractive? Okay, I was gonna get 3, but I believe 4 came out. Yeah. All right, and then let's see. We got ghosting. We also have grit. We got mismatch, and then we also have 2 loves. Okay, a lot of no's. And then we got rainy days at the bottom of the deck. Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling, you guys, like that part, like the spark and the chemistry and the physical and sexual attraction, that part of the connection, for whatever reason, initially at the very beginning, had to be put on ice. Okay, because there's something deeper going on with this connection that if those things were felt, it would derail the purpose. It would distract the purpose of the connection. We got rainy day at the bottom of the deck. It says challenges, unforeseen difficulties, great mental, physical effort. There's some healing, I feel like, that may need to take place in your person. That might be why, okay, I think that's it. Your person pile 4, knowing that they can't get anything past you, they know they got to come correct with you. Your person might actually have some own healing that they need to do. They might have some tendencies to where they don't tend, okay, so, ooh, we're going deep here. Right off the bat, your person, your future spouse, pile 4, prior to you, okay, or I should say maybe the normal way that they do things. They don't normally take romantic connections very seriously. They might just like to kind of skim on the surface, and they go off of, they don't do soul connections. They don't do deep connections. They don't, you know, they skim the surface of just spark and chemistry and physical and sexual attraction. That's where they like to stay, right? But there's something with your energy that pulls them down below that. And so that energy with you guys, like I said, it's muted on purpose. With that spell work in reverse, that's like you have the ability to put that spell on them very quickly. But I don't know if it's you do it unconsciously or if you do it on purpose, where you're like, you mute that energy yourself because you want to be with somebody who wants you more than just for that physical attraction. You know what I mean? And you could very well be someone that's like, I need to see that we actually like each other. You know, we can have a spark and we can have chemistry and we can have physical and sexual attraction for somebody that we end up not even liking as a person. But you don't know that until it's too late. You get attached. See, that's the problem. God, this is a lesson, okay? Did you know, Pile 4, that you can have attachment without a connection? Attachments are toxic, right? Connections are healthy. You can have an attachment to somebody that you have actually no connection with. And the reason why you can do that and how that's possible is because that attachment is formed in the absence of a connection. That attachment is formed and it's based solely off of sparks, chemistry, physical and sexual attraction, and that's it. There's, you know, and people mistake an attachment for a connection. You don't realize that you don't actually have a connection with someone until the attachment is dealt with. And then you're like, we don't have nothing in common, you know, aside from this sexual attraction, right? Besides what's going on in the bedroom, we don't have anything else. I don't like you as a person, right? And so you might actually be the reason why there's not the chemistry and the spark and the sexual part of it isn't felt right away. It's because that's giving the connection itself time to actually form, you know. And I feel like that might be something with your future spouse where they're not used to that. They may not even be aware that that's what they're doing. Your future spouse may not even be aware that they're forming attachments versus connections to people. You know, connections and bonds, right? We want to connect and bond with somebody. We can have a secure attachment, but when I think about attachments, I'm like, attachments are bad, bonds are good. Attachments are like you're clinging to somebody, right? Versus a bond where it's more mutual. You know, yeah, you're hanging on, but it's very loosely. It's not a need, and it's not clingy, and it's not, you know what I mean? And attachments are born to me in the absences of connections and actual bonds. And so that's why I feel this, you know, the chemistry is there. Obviously, this is somebody that you end up like, you know, ending up marrying. Chemistry is there. All that stuff is there. In the very beginning, though, we're talking about first impressions. That part of it is muted for a reason. Okay? So that the two of you are allowed to actually bond and connect. And then it's like that part of you guys will be awoken. Okay? Let's see. Now we're going to find out what messages about their first impression. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I'm wanting to see what it says. Pile 4's future spouse. Tell us more about what are your messages to Pile 4 about your first impression of Pile 4. And we're not saying that you guys have to, like, the reading's not saying that you have to spend, you know, years or months even, you know, forming a bond and not feeling, you know, because, yeah, I mean, when you're romantically connected to somebody, there has to be that spark and that chemistry and that attraction, right? So that we're not saying that. We're talking about first initial impression. Obviously, there's going to be a spark and a chemistry and an attraction there that carries you guys on through, you know, getting married and stuff like that. Okay, we're just talking about first impressions, you guys. I'm not saying you have to go weeks or months or years without, you know, having sex or feeling that there, look, spiritual lesson. Yeah, there's something there's a spiritual lesson, there's something energetic going on here. It's deeper. This connection is deeper. And in order for it to be deeper, because somebody in this connection, it could even be both of you, okay, wasn't realizing that their connections in the past were that they were all primarily built. There was more attachments than there was an actual connection or a bond, right? You want to have a connection and a bond and chemistry and, you know, being physically and sexually attracted to the, you know, each other. We got mastery. There we go. Wow. Spiritual lesson and mastery. This person is in your life to teach you a spiritual lesson, and then mastery is like you've learned the spiritual lesson. Oh my gosh. This is awesome. I'm telling you guys, pile 4, y'all are some powerful mofos, okay? Strictly there. See, look. That energy comes through strictly sexual. It says this connection is passionate. See, and this is why the first impression, this is why, because this is, I feel like, where things may have been before, not between you and your future spouse, but this is why that energy was muted, because it says this connection is passionate. That passion is there, that ability for that passion is there, but it's muted. Because if it was felt initially, this is where it was this is where it would lead, is just being nothing but sex. And so that the initial spark, the initial chemistry, the initial physical and sexual attraction is muted so that it doesn't end up being strictly sexual, so that you guys can form an actual bond. Okay, it's not that the passion and the intensity and none of that stuff is actually there. Keep that in mind, pile 4, because you know, you might feel like, you know, if you're with this person, you're like, oh, I don't feel that spark, I don't feel that chemistry. It may very well be because that part of it is being muted, so that you can see if you and this person have an actual soul bond and soul connection. Once you establish that soul bond and soul connection, I feel what's going to happen is that the chemistry, all that other stuff is going to, like, the lid is going to be taken off of that, and all of a sudden it's that part of it comes to life. Okay, the fact that you don't feel those things right away, and this is them, okay, we're talking about them. The fact that they don't feel those things right away is because if they did, this is what it would end up being, and this may be a pattern for them. And so they're letting you know, their message to you about their first impression, them not feeling an instant spark / chemistry, them not really feeling instantly physically or sexually attracted to you, that's happening energetically. That stuff is actually there, but your higher self, their higher self, you know, your guys' souls, God, source, whatever, put a lid on that so that they weren't picking up on it, because your guys' connection has a deeper meaning. There's a deeper purpose. And like we saw with the Page of Wands and the Chariot, they would not have taken the connection seriously had they felt that chemistry from the very beginning. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, we're gonna get some more about their messages about their first impression of you. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. I'm not saying that the chemistry is not there. I'm not saying that the energy of the chemistry is not there. I'm not saying that the spark is not there. I'm not even saying that the physical and sexual attraction is not there. Okay? The universe is putting it, like, is covering it up so it cannot be detected for a reason. I hope you're understanding that. Okay, you guys? Let's see. We're going to go to the Pink Divine Love Oracle now. While I'm getting these messages out, you guys, if this is resonating, if you are enjoying this reading at all, do me a favor, show your appreciation, if you would, by hitting that like button for me. That is a wonderful way to energetically donate to the channel. Comment below, let me know what pile you picked, let me know how it's resonating. Become part of the family by hitting that subscribe button along with the notification bell so you don't miss a reading or an announcement. Let's see. What do you want? What are your messages to pile 4 about your first impression? What are your messages to pile 4 about your first impressions? We got going within. Withdrawn from the world, needs space and time for self. We got traditions, morals, values, family roots. This feels like this feels like introspection and them going in, yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, so their first impression of you, it's designed to have them question the ways that they have been doing things, which I feel like they've been living off of sparks and chemistry and very surface level things to keep things strictly sexual. That's been their way. That's been this, you know what I mean? Keeping themselves from really going within. And so with the energy that's showing up here with how you are, pile 4, I just feel like naturally, like, you know, we have detective here, right? The whole way that your energy is made up of, it's like you can't you energetically force them to really go within and look at themselves. With that, they may not even be realizing that you're doing it, or that you're doing it, right? You have them go within. It says with scribe, it says preserving knowledge and information. You have them go within and look at the way that they have been doing things, the way that they have been showing up. Challenging the tradition of the way that they've been doing things, keeping things very, you know, shallow and superficial and sexual and not going any deeper than that. Yeah, because I feel like there's cloud 9. That's how I feel like it ends up there. And this could be also somebody, you know, that kind of chases that high. Because the way that your person has been showing up in connections prior to this point has been, you know, whether they know they've been doing this, pile 4, they have been getting involved with people that at a very core level they are not compatible with, for the purposes of keeping things strictly sexual, right? And so, you know, when it comes to them feeling like an instant spark or a chemistry with you, the first impression, you guys are a mismatch, because you do things authentically when you interact with people. It's an authentic. You look for the soul connection. You look for the bond. You know, you're not someone that does things superficially. Up until the time that they meet you, though, your person is. Up until they meet you, pile 4, your person is somebody that does not like to go below the surface. They keep things very superficial, at a very superficial level. When we talk about building bonds and connections with people, that requires you to get to know who somebody is, right? Below the chemistry, below the spark, below the physical attraction. And that's almost like territory they don't want to go in, right? Because honestly, your relationship with other people, those are mirrors, and they're not wanting to look at themselves very clearly. And so, you know, their overall messages to you about their first impressions is, you know, it's not initially going to feel like fireworks and not being able to keep our hands off of each other, because there's something deeper at work. That energy is there. It says here this connection is passionate, okay? It is. And the reason why that part of the connection in the beginning is the first impression, the reason why that's being cut off is because, like I just said, it would actually rob this connection. It would rob them of getting to know you better, which is going to rob them of getting to know themselves better, because you're a very effective mirror to them. Okay? So just keep that in mind. This could be felt on both sides. I'm not sure. I mean, you know, when I dropped that video about your first impression of your future spouse, I wouldn't be surprised if you pick a pile where you feel the same way, where it's not instant, like, fireworks and instant chemistry and, oh, we're magnetically drawn and we couldn't keep our hands off each other from the first time we met. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not going to be a lot of mirroring, you know, in this reading versus the one that you might pick for your first impression of them, right? There's something deeper going on here, though. That part of the connection is being muted because it could be on both sides. There's a deeper meaning for it, and you and your future spouse might have a bad habit of just building things off of sparks, off of chemistry, building, having a habit of allowing attachments to form before you really get to know who the person is at their core. I hope that makes sense. All right, we're going to get one more card, and then we'll wrap up your guys' reading. Your messages to pile 4 about your first impression. Your messages to pile 4 about your first impression of them. And 2? No, that's too many. Okay. Your messages to pile 4, please, about your first impression. Is that one card? Yeah. What do you need to release? I'm hearing expectations. And it's really up to you. I'm just giving you the energies that come through, okay? A question that I'm hearing to ask you, pile 4, is, do you want something that is instant ignition, fireworks in the very beginning, but that later kind of like fizzles out because that's what the entire connection was built on? Or do you want something that's more of a steady burn, right? Something where you get to know each other on a very deep level, and it does end up in fireworks, but it grows to that point, so that when when that flame does hit full throttle, it stays there, because it's built on more than just sparks and sex and chemistry. It's built on a much, much deeper bond. And whatever your answer is, right, it's valid, whatever it is. If you're like, no, I want the instant chemistry and attraction and blah, 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 that's valid. And if you're like, okay, well, if we can build up to that intense chemistry and that intense attraction to a point where it's deeper than that, right? You would take that, just keep that in mind. It's like, what do you need to release? And I keep hearing your expectation. Whatever your expectation is when it comes to, sparks and chemistry and, physical and sexual attractiveness and stuff like that. I'm hearing you're going to be pleasantly surprised if you will let go of your expectation when it comes to that. All right, you guys? And then we got at the bottom of the deck, a new romantic cycle begins. Something new in terms of like something you haven't experienced before, a new way of doing things. This is a new moon in Libra, so things are very balanced, okay? Whereas, maybe you've done this too. You may have just done nothing but, without knowing it, forming attachments versus bonds and connection, right? Now things are being balanced where it's like, okay, let's form the connection and the bond first, and then that's going to build upon the chemistry and the spark and the physical attraction and stuff like that. All right, you guys, I'm going to end your reading there. Thank you so much for hanging out with me again today. I will see you guys at your next future spouse pick a card reading. Bye, guys.